Namah Parvati Pataye Govindanam Sankirtanam.
Namaste everyone. Very happy to see you all here assembled for one more Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam session. So before starting Bhagavatam, we will start with an invocation. We will start with a prayer. Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannapadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnobhashantaye. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Sarva Lokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidye Sarva Vidyanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. தென்னாடுடைய பெரியவா போற்றி எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி சர்வஜா சர்வவியாபி பெரியவா சரணம் மாயப் பிறப்பருக்கும் மகா பெரியவாடி போற்றி. ஓம் ஜன்மாத்யஸ்ய யதோ அன்வயாதிதரதஸ்தாச்சார்த்தேஷோ விக்ஞः ஸ்வராட்டம் தேனே பிரம்மஹ்ருதாய ஆதிகவயே முஹ்யந்தி யத் சூரயः தேஜோ வாரிமிருதாம் யதா விநிமயோ யத்ர த்ரிசர்கோ மிருஷாம் दाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तगुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. So in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, we have seen in the last session about the Kapilavatam, about Devahuti and Kapilar's Samvadam, because the dialogue between Devahuti and Kapilar, Manu's daughters, there are three daughters for Manu, Ahuti, Devahuti and Prasuti, and we are talking about Devahuti's Charitram. So Devahuti is married to Gardama Munivar, and she enjoyed all the life with Gardama, and at last she wanted to have knowledge about, she wanted to have the knowledge about Paramatma, and so she asked Gardama Munivar about that, and he said the Kapila Munivar, who is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu and who is going to be the son of Devahuti, will teach about the transcendental knowledge. And now the Samvadam between Devahuti and Kapila Vasudeva is only 5 years old. And he is now giving the knowledge about Paramatma to his own mother. That's what we have seen. Till that we have seen this scenes in the last session. So here the dialogue goes like this. So the Kapila Munivar, now Devahuti asks so many questions. She becomes the representative of us. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna has so many doubts. And he was asking so many questions to Sri Krishna about, but those questions are not from Arjuna. It's like, even for us, he becomes the representative of us all, and asks questions to Sri Krishna. Similarly, here Devahuti is asking so many questions to Kapila Vasudeva, and he is now telling about the knowledge, about the transcendental knowledge, about Paramatma, how to reach Paramatma. So he talks about, the difference between the supreme consciousness, that is and the mind consciousness, Maya consciousness. So he says, Kapila Munivar says, our mind always works sometimes on goodness, Sattva Gunam, sometimes on goodness and knowledge, and sometimes in passion, and sometimes in ignorance also. So long as the mind works, we have to take birth. So even in Narayaniam also, according to Bhattatri, Devahuti, ask how to control the mind. So she asked, I can't control my mind. I can't think of God. What to do? See, whatever Sugar says in 13 adhyayams in Bhagavatam, Narayana Bhattatri also tells in Narayaniam also. So he says, Amma means here Devahuti. Amma asks why there is a birth. See, why there is birth. Kapila says, if your mind thinks about something, if your mind works, your mind always works about something or the other, it always thinks, isn't it? So if the mind always works, then you have to take a birth. For each thinking, you have to take a birth. If your mind thinks about something other than the God, then there is Janma. Then a birth is going to happen. So here Devahuti Amma asks, how to control or how to think about God then. So Kapila here describes about the Bhakti Yogam. That is, he said, by practice. Everything comes by practice, isn't it? So by practice of thinking the God only about God, or by practice of knowledge and renunciation, in devotional service, one sees everything, one sees everything in the right perspective. So Devahuti again, she said, I'm not getting love, or I'm not getting bhakti towards God. How should I get it? So Kapila now he says, the love towards God will not come if you do tapas, if you do yoga, meditate, or if you do, see, only one thing you have to do. Kapila says that only one thing you have to do. That is, if you associate yourself with sages, with sadgurus, with mahans, then, your heart melts. Your heart melts. If you go to Sadguru, if you associate yourself with any Sadgurus, then your heart melts. Mahadanugamalabhya bhakti revatra sadhya kapila tanuriditvam devahuti negati. This is a Narayaniam slokam, but it's a, so Kapila says like that. If you associate yourself with all the gurus, like our Acharya is there, if you associate ourselves with this gurus, then your heart melts. See, whatever Maitreya or Sugar says in 13 Adhyayam in Bhagavatam, Narayana Bhattatri has explained in 10 slokas. Like here Kapila says, Bhagavan is nowhere outside. You don't have to search Bhagavan. Where is the Bhagavan? Outside. He is inside you. But it is like, this Bhagavan got mixed up with all the spices. That is, we have to separate it to see Paramatma. There are a lot of spices along with Bhagavan. So, Parakriti Mahadahankaram. See, he talks about, now Kapila talks about the Tattvam. Tattvam means philosophy. Now, think about, he talks about the 24 Tattvams, but the Paramatma is the 25th Tattva. What happens is Paramatma is mixed up with all the 24 Tattvams. Tattvam is like, Paramatma is all mixed up with your sense organs. Pancha Bhudangal, Jnanendriyangal, and Manas, everything, it's all mixed up with that. So he said, we have to carefully realize the Paramatma by seeing part by part. We have to do research part by part and realize this Paramatma. He said about Raja Yogam also. He says about Bhakti Yogam. He is now preaching or teaching all these things to his own mother. He said about Raja Yogam. He said the essence of Raja Yogam. So in Narayaniam, Bhattatri also explained how this Kapila told his his mother about the asanas, the yogam, yogas. He says that, these asanas are yoga. If you talk about yoga, if you talk about asanas, these are like kadivalam. Kadivalam means, what to say? Kadivalam for horses, brittle. Horses, for brittle of horses. So the sense organs like, horses. See, these horses, they go in any direction. So what they will do is, they will put a kadival, they will put a brittle so that this horse can concentrate and go in one direction. This is how this asanas or the yogam, these asanas helps us to concentrate and to have a control over our sense organs. See, if one can have control over the sense organs, then only pratyakaram, will fructify. He talks about Pratyagaram. He talked about, Ashtanga Yogam, like, 12 yamams and 12 niyamams and all about that. He told about all these 24, tattvams. And if one does all these 24 things, his chittam, his mind, will get purified. He gets the darshan. He gets the darshan of the Bhagavan. As a, Garuda Ruda form, as a Kalyana Kataksham, and Paramatma, he gets the darshan of Lord. So here, what happens is 5-year-old Kapila Vasudeva, who is the incarnation of Paramatma, gives Upadesam, he's preaching to his own mother. Oh mother, you have to hear about the glories of Bhagavan. Always, always you have to hear the glories of Bhagavan. If you hear, continuously, what will happen is then you will start to shout, Hare Narayana, Mukunda, Madhava, without any, inhibition. You will start to shout like that, and you will have his darshan inside. This is called the Parabhakti, Paramabhakti. If you keep on chanting or hear Bhagavan Namam, then that Bhagavan Namam will kick your death. That is, you will, this death will not come to you. The death will get scared to come to you. Oh, he said, all the sense organs will do all the karmas accordingly, but you will not get attached to all these things. It will do whatever, job it has to do, it will do. The sense organs will do according to the Vedas and gets the Chitta Suddhi, and then you will start seeing the Bhagavan. You will start seeing the Bhagavan, and this is called the Bhakti. This is called the Bhakti. So, what will the Bhakti do? So, this Bhakti, if you get Bhakti towards Bhagavan, it will erode our Shariram, that is, Linga Shariram. That is, we will forget our body. For example, if you see a Bailwan or a wrestler, he can take 10 or 15 bananas, even with the skin, and yet it gets digested. So in the same way, if all our sense organs, start to concentrate on Paramatma, say Bhakti, this Bhakti dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without any separate effort. You don't have to give separate effort. Just as, fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. So here, Sukacharya says, there is only a little bit of distance. See, Kapila Vasudeva was sitting in front of, in front of his mother, Kapila, who is the incarnation of Lord, is sitting in front of the mother, Devahuti, and giving all this. He could easily show, the Vaikuntham to his mother. But Kapila says, you have to approach and associate yourself from, with Mahangal, with Sadhukan. Then he said, this Sadhus or the Mahan were more than Paramatma. There has to be, some broker for everything. He knows all the nuances, isn't it? So we approach the broker to get all the things to be done. So, because what will happen is these Mahangal or these Acharya, what they will do is they will remove all your sins, all your dosha. That is the only obstacle of reaching, you from Paramatma, isn't it? So they will purify us because they are Acharyas. So there is nothing compared to Bhakti. There is nothing compared. Now he says about the symptoms of Sadhukan. He told that you have to approach the Acharyas, you have to approach the Mahangal, you have to approach the Sadhus and everything. But so what makes the difference between us and the Acharyas? There are a little bit of symptoms, where you can find, oh, this is a Sadhu, this is the Acharya, this is the Mahangal. Because these Mahangal, the symptoms of a Sadhu are that he is very, very tolerant. He's very tolerant. He's not like us, getting always angry and getting always, getting into temper and losing our temper and everything. He's always tolerant. He's merciful. He will forget. He will forgive our sins. He's always merciful, compassionate, full of compassion and friendly to all living entities. So that's why we say that, if a sadhu is doing tapas in a forest, we can see there are a lot of Puranas. And even now we can see a lot of wild animals and domestic animals, they sit together. That is, a lion and the deer sit together in front of the acharyas, because the sannidhanam, the whole, the place where the sadhus were there, it's a very serene. That's why the word serene. It's very serene, pious, and everything is peace there. So he has no enemies. He has no enemies, and he is peaceful. So he also abides by the scriptures, and all his characters are sublime. So the sadhus engages on staunch devotional services to the Lord with a devotion. That's why, even Sugar, the Mahan, the whole Jnani is Sugar. He comes forward to tell this Bhagavatam to Parikshit. It's not only for Parikshit. Now we are talking, so much of years past, and now we are talking about Bhagavatam. Now we are learning about Lord. And, if now we are praying to Lord, everybody knows that we are having, some puja or something about Lord, something about God's name. Why we are doing that? Because it gives peace to us. It gives something, some kind of happiness, some kind of joy, some kind of, serene thing, peacefulness in our mind. This is what is happening. This is all given by all the Mahans. See, they do, their devotional service is like this. They are so merciful, they are so compassionate to give us the knowledge. At least we get a little bit of knowledge from those acharyas, because they are giving like that. So without deviation, they do devotional service for the sake of Lord. For the sake of Lord, what happens is they renounces all the connections. They renounces their family, friends, everyone. So they engaged constantly in, they engage themselves constantly in hearing and chanting about Lord's name or Paramatma. So the sadhus, they do not suffer from the material miseries, because they are always filled with the thoughts of Lord's pastimes and glories and activities of Lord. So these are all the qualities. Now Kapila Vasudeva is telling about the qualities of the sadhus. That's why he says that's why, so mom, you must seek attachment to such holy men. For this, what will happen? It counteracts the pernicious efforts of material attachment. So he told about the glories, he told about the symptoms of sadhus, how to find a sadhu. This is how the sadhu will be. Now he's also telling about the sinner story. Sin means papi story. So in his discourse has told a papi story, which will be very interesting. A papi, or the sinner, will be like this. He's an ignorant person, sinner, papi, ignorant person. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know about God. He would not have chanted think of God throughout his life. Think or doing anything, thinking of God. He never, would have chanted the Bhagavan Nama, or read about or heard about the glories of God. What will happen is, the person, the sinner, he becomes old. One day he becomes old, and now he has to hand over his keys. Keys means he has to hand over his belongings, his house and everything to his son. Even though he doesn't want to do that, want to hand over his responsibilities or the keys to his son, he has to do it because he has become old. Now he couldn't do because of his fatigue and tiredness. and he became old. So he has to hand over the keys or his responsibilities to his son. But even now, he will be very vigilant. He wanted to check. He wanted to check what his lad is doing, what his son is doing, how the lad spends his, hard-earned money. He starts inquiring about, about his son, about whatever he spends, whatever his son spends. He always inquires. He's always worried about it. He could not tolerate his son spending his money. So he couldn't help it either, because he can't do anything now. So he will start to think about how now in the old age, what will happen? He has always accumulated wealth. He has spent the whole time of his life accumulating wealth and money and so many things. So even now, when he becomes old, he will start to think that how he can grab something free from others. So even at this age, so something free, if something free is available, then we can grab that. Suppose if his son, for example, if his son gets some vegetables, say for example, if he gets some vegetable from the market, he would ask the price of the vegetable. He wanted to check whether his son has, bought this vegetable in a lower price, or he has given more price for that particular vegetable. And the son, what will happen? The son, will he tolerate? It is his son, isn't it? So he will also not tolerate. So he will start yelling at him. Now, this papi, the sinner, he starts to feel sad. He will feel sad about himself and would think, see, this he will feel, see, the point is, until now, he doesn't give time to chant Bhagavan Namam, though he has plenty of time now. Now he has got plenty of time. He doesn't have to hold any responsibilities. He is free from responsibilities. He has got a lot of time. He can chant Bhagavan Namam. He can say Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. But he always dwells, or put his mind on all these petty things. He even inquires his son's friend and asks him about his spending kind of thing, how he is wasting his money, or how he is accumulating, how he is good or bad. So, see, as he is in the edge of his life, he has all sorts of disease, like like BP, sugar, and whooping cough, and everything he gets in his old age. He started, he started to spit everywhere. Now the son, he couldn't tolerate all this nonsense from his father, even though he's a father, but he's a papi. So his son, you can imagine how he would have raised his son. So son will be like his father only. So the son, after seeing this, would ask his mom to take him away to the cow shed or in the yard, put him in the yard, go to the cow shed. Dad, I don't want to tolerate all this nonsense, but he's spitting all over the place. I don't want to keep him in the house. See, there are so many VIPs coming to the house, and I don't want them to see him. See, the mom, she was with him, with her husband, for more than 50 years. So she doesn't know how to explain to her husband about all these things. So she would say, okay, I will tell. Okay, please, I will tell him accordingly. So she would say, see, our house, our son has built a house, okay, new house in the yard, and he asked us to, join in the housewarming ceremony. So we can go there, we can join there. So the old man also believes. Okay, so when he enters the yard, he would ask, where is the new house? So the wife, she will also start screaming. She will also start yelling at him, at this old man, for spitting all over the place. How could he tolerate? You are all, always coughing, always spitting, always doing everything, and always questioning him. And he doesn't want to tolerate you. So please be here. Okay, this is a new house for you in the cow shed. The cow shed is a new place for you and you have to stay here. Don't come inside. Okay, stay here and all the things will come to you. The lunch, breakfast and dinner, everything will come to you. The food will come to you and you have to stay here. So what happens is this unfortunate man, unsuccessful in maintaining his family members, is bereft of all beauty. He always thinks of his failure. He always thinks of his failure, grieving very, deeply. Seeing him unable to support them, his wife and others do not treat him, with the same respect as before. So it is always, it's always judicious. It is always judicious, therefore, to give up family attachment, before one attains the old age. This is the tattvam, this is the tatparyam of this, the whole story, attains the old age, So you have to take the chant, the namam, you have to pray to Lord before he becomes old and take shelter of the Lord. So on one particular day, what will happen is, say it was a Diwali day or something like, it's a festival day, it's a Diwali day, and so many guests, so many friends and so many guests and relatives have come to his place to see his, son. So all of them were having a merry and were having a beautiful party in their house, lunch and nice food, but nobody would show any attention to him, this old man who is there in the cow shed. So even his wife, would come and meet him only in the evening, giving him some leftovers. So he'll be so sad, this foolish man, isn't it? He doesn't become averse to the family life. Even now, he doesn't become averse to the family life, even though, although he is maintained by those whom he once maintained. See, the wife of the foolish man also suffers because it is said in Tamil, Pavi Andinavan, Paviyathan Irukkanum. This is those who are a sinner. If somebody goes and, surrender himself to a sinner, then he will also become a sinner. That's how it is. So the wife of the foolish man also suffers like him. He says, I got my food only at 4 o'clock this evening, so I could bring him some leftovers to you. This is how it is. So now what happens is, he remains the home. He remains, he remains at the home just like a pet dog, and eats whatever is so negligently given to him. So in the morning, so it was all over, the day is over, and the morning, in the morning, they saw the leftovers not taken by this old man, the sinner. And this sinner was having difficulty in breathing. And, during his exhaling and inhaling, he produces a sound like the gar sound, like a rattling, within the throat. See, in the diseased condition, the last time of a person, last edge of the life, in the diseased condition, the eyes, see, it's all given in Bhagavatam, one's eyes bulge, due to the pressure of air within, and his glands become congested with mucus. And he was lying in the deathbed now. So in this way, he comes under the clutches of death, and and lies down surrounded by friends and all the relatives, only asking about his properties. The son is asking about, where do you keep this money? See, before you die, you tell me all about those things, where you have kept all the assets and properties and everything. Come on, tell me about everything. See, although, he wants to speak, this old man, this papi, although he wants to speak with them, he no longer can. He feels so sad because about this people and, friends not inquiring about his health. How is he feeling? How is your health? Nobody asks these questions. So, but a best friend, best friend from his younger age, a best friend of him, who is also an old man now, would come near him. And he compassionately, he knows him from his childhood, because he's the best friend of this old man. And he says, see, you are now in the deathbed, and please chant Ramanamam. At least at this point, you please chant Ramanamam, so that you may get peace in your mind. Don't get distressed. So please chant. But what this papi will say, this ignorant people, this papi, this foolish man would say, see, why are you torturing me? And even at this point, why are you torturing me to say something? I'm seeing all these people and relatives, and they are all in front of me, and I'm doing so many things, and you are torturing me to say something. See, even at this point, he would never say the Bhagavan's Namam, though it is so simple. It's only Rama or Krishna. Rama, Siva. See, that's only 2 words, 2 letters. So, though he could not move, he was only worried about the people, not inquiring about his health. He never chanted and wanted to chant Bhagavan Nama. So, because he never chanted in his life, now he could not even think about that. He has never chanted in his whole life. So, that should be a practice, isn't it? For anything to get on one day, you will not get it. And at the last point of your life, if you want to have peace, then you have to chant from this point. Everyone, we were all preparing for the exam, annual exam. That's a last exam, final exam, The whole preparation of, is only for the final exam. That is, you have to get the A grade. Isn't it? That is how it is. Now, it's all about, he could not even think about chanting Ramanam. So the family and friends would be lamenting, will be crying, weeping, surrounding him. And now the Yamatudal will come. Yamatudal means the assistants of Yamadharma. Now they will come, taking away his life and put him in all the naragams, hell. Naragams. And it's all explained in Bhagavatam. It's all explained by Kapila Munivar in Bhagavatam. So now at this point, this soul of a papi will suffer. He will suffer. He will undergo suffering in all the naragams. So this story is told by Kapila to Devahuti. So hearing this, this story is very important. See, everywhere it is told, because hearing this sinner story will destroy our sins. That is what is told in Kaushika Samhita. So after going through all the narakams, again he will have to take birth, get the jiva dosham and suffer. So Kapila says to Devahuti, Amma, what you have to do, my dear mom, I therefore advise that you take shelter of the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality, Paramatma, because his lotus feet is worth worshipping. Accept this, with all devotion and love, and give all the love to the Lord. Devahuti now, here she says, I am old now. See, I'm getting scared of hearing all the, now he has talked about all the naragams, So now I am getting scared of all these naragams. What if I go out to naragam? If I get Naragalogam, what if I get Naragalogam? So immediately Kapila smiled and said, don't worry, mom, don't worry. People who hear the story, people who hear the story of you and me, that is this Kapila Charitram, will not go to Naragalogam at all. So don't worry. Do bhajans or kirtans of Bhagavan. But here the Amma says, as Devahuti says, I don't know how to do bhajan. I don't know how to sing. Now the Kapila said, there is an easy way. There is a very easy way. Hear the glories. Hear the glories of Bhagavan, the stories of Bhagavan. the stories of Paramatma from Sadhu. So you will get the darshan and you will start, seeing Bhagavan inside. Fix your mind on that, and it will, remove all your worries. All your worries are, papams or sorrows. See, if you do bhakti to Bhagavan, bhakti will lead you to vairagyam. Then vairagyam will give you jnanam. See, if you attain jnanam, automatically you can see the swarupam inside. You can see the swarupam inside. This is called the kaivalyam. This is called kaivalyam. Kapila said that now, this is called the. Now she asks Devahuti. Now she is questioning, where is the Lord situated? Where is the Lord? So Kapila says he's there everywhere. He is there everywhere. She said, I can't see him. Now Kapila says one can see the Lord when one has a lot of punyam. Then only one can see the Lord. She asked, show the place where there is a lot of punyam. There will be a lot of punyam. Kapila said, see, now he's explaining the living beings are said to have more punyam than the non-living things. Even in the living, even within the living beings, Chetanam, Achetanam, we say Chetanam, Chetanam. So within the living beings, it is animals. And within the animals, it is go. Go means cow. And within the cows, it's human beings. Human beings are also called as a cow. So there are 4 varnas in humans. That is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudras. So within this, birth as a Brahmana is said to have more punyam. But simply, but he says, simply taking birth as a Brahmana is a waste. At least one should know one Purusha Suktam. At least you should learn Vedam. Little bit of Slokam, Purusha Suktam, at least more. See, more punyam is knowing the meaning of that. And that is also not enough. He should know how to teach others. So teaching others, that is also not sufficient. He should also follow whatever is taught, he should, that is Swarupa, Swakarma, that is called Swakarma. That is, he should also practice himself. Whatever he teaches, he should practice himself. Even, that is not enough. Whenever he does, whatever he does, he should submit himself, he should submit everything, all the karmas to the lotus feet of the Lord. That is, he should submit all the karmas. He should take charanagat. That is what is said. Whether it is punyam or papam, he should submit himself to the Lord. See, at this point, Devahuti, she got a doubt. She said, I have done so much of kainkaryam. Kainkaryam means service to my husband, to your father. 1,000 years of service to your father. And you are telling that you should submit, you should now, you should not expect anything in return. Now what should I do? Now, till then, Kapila Vasudeva, this 5-year-old boy, he was teaching her all the philosophies. Now he said, at this point only, he said, oh mother, you give me, offer me all your karmas. Whatever you have done, you submit me all your karmas. Anyone who once, meditates upon me with faith and affection, and who hears and chants about me, surely will reach me. See, till then, Devahuti was under the impression, of knowing things from her son, from her own son. Now she realized her son, it's only ajnanam, that's what. Now she realized her son as the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality, the Lord himself is sitting before, Devahuti. Now, in the last adhyayam of Bhagavatam, that is in this Kapila Devahuti Samvadam, like she submitted everything, knowing that This is God himself. He has come. And she told him, see, you are the Lord Vishnu himself. And under the name of Kapila, you have come here. The saints and sages, being freed from all the disturbances of the, of the senses, meditates upon you for your mercy. Only your mercy only can become, only because of your mercy, one become free from the clutches of this, three modes of this material nature. So at the time of disillusion, all the Vedas are sustained in you only. So here there are so many saints, so many sadhus, rishis, doing tapas to see you. But you took mercy on me. You have thousands of Brahmandas, you have thousands of Brahmandams, constellations, so many things inside your stomach, you have inside your stomach, but you assumed, this body, in order to diminish, the sinful activities of the fallen and enrich the knowledge in devotion and liberation. So even the most sinful person, if you accidentally chant your holy name or hear your holy name or offer the obeisances or, remember him, he becomes eligible to be a Bhagavatam. That's so simple. So she said, I am so grateful to you. I am so grateful to you as you, the Lord, has come as my son, isn't it? So this Kapila, thus Devahuti, submitted herself to Kapila Vasudeva, who is the Lord himself. And thus Kapila Vasudeva, satisfied him. He was satisfied by the words of his mother, said, my dear mother, the path of self-realization, which I have instructed you, is so very easy. It's very easy. So you execute it without any difficulty, and following it, you shall very soon reach me, or very soon be liberated, even within your present body. Thus said Kapila. He took permission from his mother and left his home, and his mission being fulfilled. Thus instructed by his by her son Devahuti also began to practice bhakti yogam. In that very ashrama itself, she practiced samadhi in the house of this Kardama Munivar, and soon became liberated from this material bondage and became a super soul now. He becomes one with the God. She became a river there. So the Kapila Munivar also left and went towards Isana, northeast. So this is the Kapila Vasudeva's samvadam with Devahuti, and this is a Kapila Vasudeva's story now. This is said by Maitreya to Vidura. So we have to now remember to chant always God's name, instructed by Kapila Vasudeva. And so we'll complete the session today, and we'll meet in the next session, like about the Prasuti's life. So we will close this session by Purnamadam, by chanting Purnamadam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Ram Ram.
Thank you.